Have you ever been wrongly accused of something and it's completely out of your control? This video is the story of that happening to me. But before I do that, let me set some of the stakes and tell you some of the consequences of if it goes in my favor or if it doesn't go in my favor. If I lose, then I potentially have to pay thousands of dollars for something that I didn't do. And then if I win, then obviously I don't have to pay anything. And again, I can't stress this enough. I did nothing wrong. It was completely other people's fault, but they were trying to blame me. We're going down to Chattanooga, and that's the reason I'm telling you this story is because the story actually took place in Chattanooga. And before, for those of you that didn't know, before I did video and photo, I was a full-time musician, primarily a drummer. And typically, when drummers, there's really two ways to make money. You can either do live gigs, or you can do session work. And session work can be like the traditional, you play on like an album or a single or whatever for an artist to like distribute it, or a record label or whatever. And you can also, a lot of people don't know this, but you can also earn money by playing for demos. Basically what you'll do is you'll create the drum tracks that another drummer, typically like one that's higher up on the food chain, will go into like a proper studio and like record like an official version of the song when an artist decides to cut it. And that's what I was doing in Chattanooga. I was recording drums for a couple of demos for an artist. Okay, so I was going down to Chattanooga for that. I was making demos for, it was like 4 demos or something like that. And the studio that had hired me, obviously I can't take a full drum set, so I just brought my snare drum and my cymbals, which is pretty normal for this kind of thing. And then the studio was responsible for bringing, supplying a drum set. Where they get the drum set, it doesn't really matter to me. They can rent it, or they can just borrow it from a friend, or do whatever. As long as they have like an actual drum set that you can use, that's kind of the only requirement for that. And that's what they did. They borrowed it from one of the owner's friends or whatever. And I did the session, and it went great. We got everything that we needed to do done. And then after the fact, I went ahead and was nice and helped pack the drum set back up into the cases. Normally, I don't have to do that. Being in a studio, you're just hired to play. You're not hired to do those kind of things. You can do it if you just want to be nice, which is what I was doing. So I put the drum set in the cases, and that was kind of it. Then I kind of just left and went home to Nashville, and a couple of days go by, and nothing really happens until I get a text message. With our car's a hybrid car, and on top of that, we really get in the car maybe once a week. So because of that, I can't remember the last time I've actually filled the gas tank up. It's been so long that I actually had to take a second and remember how to open the gas cap and everything. I had to ask Savannah because I couldn't remember.
Is on your left.
Savannah is currently doing the session, and I'm just sitting in the car getting some work done. So I get this text message, and basically it's from a number that I don't know who this person is. I've never texted this person. It was one of those they had to introduce themselves, and as soon as they confirmed that they were talking to me, they immediately start accusing me and like saying like how irresponsible I am for letting the drum set that I used be like torn up. Basically what had happened was all of his it's called a wrap. What the drum looks like on the outside, like the plastic or whatever it's made out of, is called the wrap. And basically that had become really, really scratched, or all scratched up, because of like somebody like had just mistreated it from like the time that, in any event, the wraps were super, super messed up. The owner of the kit asked the guy that originally borrowed it like who was responsible for this, and he basically like blamed me, saying that I was the one that was in charge of it. I was the one that had caused the scratches to happen. And I just simply said I had no idea what he was talking about. The drums were in perfect condition when I got them. And immediately I started like freaking out, because I just Googled like how much getting a wrap would be for, and it was going to be around $300, $400 ish, depending on the drum set and depending on the kind of wrap that you need. And I didn't have the money for that, and I didn't want to pay for somebody else's like negligence. So I sent back that I wasn't going to pay for it because I didn't do it. And then, I don't mean to sound like that guy that just complains about the same thing over and over again, but it's very hot today. Like my elbows are sweaty. That's something I never experienced until I moved to Tennessee. I will say that with the humidity, you get all this green, but that's the requirement. You have to have the humidity to get the green. And after arguing with him for a couple of like minutes, it became apparent that nothing was really going to be accomplished. I just simply told him one more time that I wasn't going to pay for it. I didn't do anything. I had no responsibility or involvement with the damage that was done. I didn't even know what the damage was or what it entailed or how bad it actually was. And I told him that I was sorry for what had happened, because I mean that is unfortunate, but I wasn't going to pay for it. And then the conversation just kind of fizzled out there. I haven't talked to that guy since, and I haven't talked to the studio owner that brought me in since. Just because there were a lot of other issues. There's a whole nother video with all the issues that he had and continued to have with not just me but with other people. All that being said, what the takeaway is don't be afraid to stick up for yourself. If you didn't do anything wrong, know that, and don't be afraid to be in an uncomfortable situation, and don't take responsibility for somebody else's wrongdoings. And maybe don't ever pay for somebody else's drum rims.